All right, well, we had an awesome race in Sao Paulo. Regular ending you would expect with Max Verstappen, but a little bit tighter of a competition with Lando there at the front. So then we gotta love that. So to get all the details, we go to Michael for Michael's Mad Minute. With that, take it away.
Hey, what's up? They race in Brazil. I think Lewis Hamilton's King Day or something. Haas. Kevin Magnussen. Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened there? Nico Hulkenberg, P12. Alfa Romeo. I guess both cars were retired because their engines are going to explode or something, so that was a bummer for them. AlphaTauri. Daniel. Poor luck for him. Got a feel for him. Yuki, P9. Good job. Williams. Albon. He drove in a straight line and got hit. That's bad luck for him. Sargent, P11. Stay out of trouble. All you can ask for. Alpine. P7, P10. Gauzy and Ocon. Not bad. Aston Martin. Lance Stroll. P5. Great job. That feels weird to say. Fernando, Mega Drive, Mega Move, Mega Dude. Great fucking day for him. McLaren, Gasly got fucked. Mala suerte. Norris, P2, and he seems to be irritated by that now. Ferrari, Carlos, P6, good work. It's a shame that someone cut Charles' hydraulics in the process, though. Mercedes, good lord, what's happening over there? Russell retires, and Lewis limps to P8. And Red Bull, Checo, P4, excellent work. Good battle with Nando. And then Max continues the greatest single season in F1 history.
Yeah, I think what you said last time, Jeff, about the percentage was right. Now his percentage.
He now has
last time he just had the most wins, but
wins,
still not the highest percentage. But now he has the percentage.
Yeah, I believe that's.
I found a post on that. When did all that shit? I can find it.
Record-breaking season.
Yeah, this is probably the best single season any driver's ever had in F1.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild.
Well, have you seen the constructors' points?
I think he won it by himself.
Well,
confirmed.
Yes, that's confirmed. But also, Red Bull has more points than 2 and 3 combined.
Not surprised. Yeah. So Max, most wins, most consecutive wins, highest percentage of wins, most podiums, most scored.
Dude,
I don't know what else you can ask from him.
Well,
he's done everything you want.
And with that win, isn't that 52 or 53? So that's number 4 overall.
52.
It's 52, so that's number 4 overall.
He surpassed Prost, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, he just passed Prost.
Goddamn.
Yeah. One thing I noticed you didn't mention in your rundown, Michael, is the sprint, because the sprint is bullshit, and no one cares about it.
Yeah, because nobody cares. Right, that's why I didn't mention it. But again, if they're determined to do this stupid shit, they should do reverse grids.
There was some shit that happened though.
Yeah, exactly.
This time.
Yes, but yeah, what stuff, Steve?
Like Ocon hitting Alonso and blaming it on Alonso.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, because you're watching him like saw his fucking like wheel back and forth and lose his car and hit Alonso. And he's like, fucking Alonso. And it's like, dude, really?
And then the Alonso on board is like, I think Ocon hit me. Like,
he was pretty chill about it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, well that happened.
Just the two completely different responses to the same incident.
It was, yeah, completely opposite ends of the spectrum. It was fucking Alonso, and it was like, yeah, I think Ocon hit me.
Ocon has no back wheel.
So I'm looking at this replay. Sorry, I'm jumping around. The lap 1 crash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alex is driving in a straight line. There's a Haas next to him. Another Haas appears next to him and squeezes that Haas. That Haas tries to back out, but clips Albon's wheel on the way out and spins Albon into the other Haas.
Yep. I think Albon did start turning into the turn though.
No, straight line.
He started coming into the inside a little bit.
Nope. Is his wheel straight?
Yeah, I didn't see. I mean, if he was, it was a gradual.
I'll have to watch it again, but definitely Magnussen was coming in harder than Albon was coming towards him. But regardless, he was getting sandwiched, and he did the right thing and pulled back.
Yeah,
but people had an angle when he clipped the wheel on the way out, and that's a spun Albon. Yeah, so but it wasn't his fault.
But the Haas in which you're talking about that came out of nowhere is K-Mag, and that's the thing, is like he shouldn't have come over right at all. Like there was no way. He had so much space on the inside to be able to take that corner at the speeds that they're going to come down to with the place that they're in the grid, that there was no reason for him to like literally be drag racing Hulkenberg and squeezing him. Like that was literally what he was doing, was he was squeezing his own teammate, and then in turn his teammate clipped Alex, which I'm just glad that K-Mag ended up getting taken out in the process, because ultimately it's his fault. And at first like glance, you might not think that it was his fault. You might think, oh, Hulkenberg is the one who clipped him. Like, no, Hulkenberg clipped him because of K-Mag, and like there was just no reason for it. So yeah, I thought that was dumb, and it was entertaining though to watch. Sorry, Michael. Watch Mercedes just like get out the gate in the sprint and just like going, and they just like look super good, and they're just cruising, and then they just start getting passed, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why?
It was pretty wild.
Yeah,
it was pretty wild to watch.
You're just like, what is
because
going on?
I was watching Lewis's onboard, and I was like, they have like 2-second gap on him in like a lap and a half. What the fuck happened? It was like,
well, especially with the last race, Mercedes did phenomenal, and then this race they're just like have a rock tied to their car or something. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's very draggy, very draggy.
Like away anchor. Like, the fuck.
But you were watching,
and then
on board.
And then sorry. And then K-Mag got bumped into the back wing of Piastri.
Oh, yeah,
see, that wasn't his fault at all.
Yeah.
That whole fucking thing fucked Ricciardo and Piastri as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it did.
Had to go out of Parc Ferme. Or out of the pit lane, right? They just start from the pit lane.
Well, I guess Piastri was lucky they were able to fix his car during the red flag.
Oh, the red flag.
Was he?
Yeah.
Ricciardo too, but
was he lucky?
At the same time, they're still like running at the back of the grid, like a whole minute behind the grid.
Well, I didn't understand that pace car. The fact that that whole thing happened. I thought that was crazy. I didn't realize that would be the case. You would think they'd let them unlap themselves or something, but I guess not.
If you look at the video, I would recommend starting at 127, because you used to see the one of the Haas's start on the camera right part of the grid and slowly ease and squeeze his teammate, who then tried to get back out and then clipped Alex. So that was his fault. Yeah.
So I understand what Michael was saying about them waiting for a yellow flag, and then they could have been right up with the grid, but
because they could have unlapped them, I think.
Still though, like that far behind, like they're not doing anything but wasting fuel, and like you're gambling and waiting for
something
a yellow
to
flag.
happen. Yeah.
But even then, at that point, because of the damage, even with the yellow flag, them coming back and getting any points probably would have been negligible.
And then a wheel bounced 100%. Off the track and then hit Ricciardo's rear wing.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Nothing he could have done there.
Yeah. Piastri got rear-ended and Ricciardo got hit by the tire.
And that's some racing shit.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, now that it's the same, but that's literally my biggest fear whenever I start in the middle of a grid, even in like video game racing. I hate if I'm not on the outside or towards the front, it freaks me out, because I'm just like, you have no control. If I brake and no one brakes behind me, you just get plowed into, and like that's along for the ride, you know.
And that's why if I race people, I don't qualify, because you can't trust them.
Yeah.
You can barely trust professionals. You can't trust regular ass dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
To not crash lap 1.
Exactly.
Watch Ocon's on board during the accident. He almost gets hit by that tire too.
That's crazy. Oh, but speaking of,
it like bounces right in front of him and goes flying right over him.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Like that's some like Final Destination shit. But going back to what you were saying, Michael, with it's hard enough with professionals, I will say, just to jump into that battle right away, is the Checo and Nando battle was just next level. The fact that they were able to go at such high speeds and late braking, aggressive overtakes, like stuff that would, for a lot of other people on the grid, I think would have caused an accident. And honestly, Checo being part of that battle, I would probably lean towards thinking that was going to end in an accident too. Like, especially the way
I was thinking that
the way he's been racing in the previous, races where he DNF'd. I'm just like, if we get Bull in a China shop, Checo, like he's taking out Nando, and like
he's on control though. Like, but he raced his race. Yeah. He was damn good at it.
Well, and that's what was really fun, and they even said it themselves at the end of it. Like, it was actually fun for them. Like, there was no hard feelings, because it was legitimately a good hard race. And Checo even said himself, like, if it had been anyone other than Nando, I probably would have been, some trouble in some of those situations, and he's not wrong. Like, it's not wrong at
just
all.
like, and that first DRS zone, how Checo threw the move to the center to get him to bite to defend the inside line. They went to the outside. But the key part of that move is like the second he got in front of Checo, he just tore right in front of him to make sure he didn't get any ideas about trying to defend the inside line.
Mm-hmm.
Like once he got ahead, he was like, no, that line's mine now. And he just blocked him out immediately. It was so beautiful. So beautifully done.
Well,
goddamn.
And it started even before that, in my opinion. It started when he let Checo pass him on the second to last lap. Like I firmly believe he moved over and let Checo go by him, fully knowing that like Checo was essentially using all of his battery and everything like that, and like he had nothing else to give, so that when it did come time on the last lap, Nando had his opportunity, because it just seemed too perfect. Like Nando, but then that was the beauty of it, that I think it just started there, was because then Nando raced him hard to make sure there wasn't a chance for him to recharge his battery or anything while being in front of him. You know what I mean? So it was just like,
it's quality.
He let him pass him, and then he stayed on him, and then when the time was right, he just sailed past, that. And I just thought that was fantastic. And the fact that, I mean, one more lap though, Checo would have had him with the sheer power of the Red Bull. But I mean, the fact that you end with a 53 hundredths of a second, that's pretty freaking sweet.
I don't think he would have had him.
No,
because even let's say like Checo gets him into the first straight, is like it's still on the DRS zone like the very next straight, which is what will get him again. So
that's true. I think that I was more concerned about the tires. I feel like Nando's tires were worse off than Checo's, so I was thinking they were getting to that kind of place where that kind of maneuvering was gonna be tougher. I do feel like that's becoming more of a factor. I think the racers are getting better at pushing each other. I think we've gotten into this kind of comfortability era where it's like no one's pressing because they're afraid of their tires falling off, and now we're getting to where they're starting to push a little bit more of like just going for it and then dealing with the the repercussions later. And I think that that's causing more, so that's the thing. I think that Max and Nando's battle would have been a lot more interesting if Nando hadn't just decided to start maintaining, because that was what it was. It's that he was on him and they were going, but they were going to shred through their tires if they both kept going. So you basically end up with a Coke and Pepsi type deal, like we can't both, we can't go to where both like beat each other to the point where the others beat us. So like we obviously have to maintain to a certain extent, you know what I mean? You need one to the other, so I don't know. That was just my first thought on that.
Do you guys think Checo was a little not confident enough to pass him earlier? I feel like Checo could have had P3, but he just needed to pass him sooner. And I feel like he was sitting behind him too long, just being too patient.
I think he has 3 recent DNFs in the back of his mind that he cannot, I think he was just being overly cautious. I think he looked at the situation and was like, I have the faster car. If I just wait and let it come to me, I for sure can get it, or, increase my chances of, having it be a good race. Than if he were to just go for it. I think he would have crashed if he had gone any earlier. But I think you're right. If he had gone for it and made it stick earlier, then he would have been 3. He should have been 3 with how fast the Red Bull was.
Yeah, I think he's lacking a little bit of confidence right now, but it's understandable.
Yeah. Michael, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm based on Mexican's result. I can see him being a little more cautious and not trying to push things too hard. But like again, today he ran his race. He finished P4. We established like in a car that good, that's the worst you want to finish. He did his job. That's all he needs to do at this point. So it's a good job to him.
Do we think he's still dead man walking, or?
If he wasn't last weekend, I guess he's not. I thought that was it. I thought that was the kicker, but I guess I was wrong. So I guess not anymore.
Yeah.
If not gonna fire him off of that, they're not gonna fire him at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's still second in the constructors. I think if he ends there, I don't think he has anything to worry about, at least not for this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's out in 2025. I think that is, unless he shows up and he makes Max work. He has one more year with that team. Yeah. It'd be awesome if he made Max work, but I don't think he can handle it. So,
yeah, you need Leclerc to move over to Red Bull.
Or Fernando.
Yeah, but I think Leclerc is in need of a change of scenery more.
Oh, without question. Yes, I agree with you.
So complacent.
Maybe not anymore. Fuck.
Poor bastard. Like I
mean, he was on the first row, and then his car dies on him in the formation lap. And he's venting about how he's so unlucky on the radio. So that's gonna stick for a while.
I literally read the freaking Charles Leclerc and the no good Monaco Grand Prix on a weekly basis, and it's fucking hilarious because it's all factually accurate, and it just sucks, dude. It's accurate up to 2023. So like everything that's happened to him from 2018 up until now is documented in this book in little storybook form, and it's just like, dude, that guy is a glutton for punishment. That's all I'm gonna say, because it just ugh.
Did you guys watch the interview with him during the red flag?
I didn't catch that.
So there's something kind of glaring for me about it, whereas like he knew that there was a problem with the car, but they weren't listening to him, because he's like, I know what the problem is, but I can't not say because blah blah blah, and this is like, and they're like, it's not. He's like, it's not the same as what was happening to Carlos. Blah blah. I know what the problem is. Like I was like, oh, you know what the problem is? Like, all right. So either he knew something was wrong and they weren't listening to him in the garage, or they already, I don't know. I feel like there was something already wrong with the car, and they just decided to ignore it. They were like, it's gonna be fine.
Oh, God.
At this point, Charles is in control of his own destiny. He is good enough to pick his spot.
Yeah.
If he's like, I want out, there are teams who will line up to probably try to pay his buyout clause, assuming he has one. I'm not sure how the contracts are in this sport really. Mm-hmm. To try to get him to be on their team. He just needs to put the word out. Because I mean, I'm not sure where Fernando is fucking my idea of what a prime is now. So, but I will say that he is definitely in his prime.
Yeah.
And will be in his prime for a good, at least another 7 years, minimum. And he's being wasted. So,
yeah.
Let's be established, he is also probably the most important Ferrari employee that they got, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. So it's up to like, is he cool with doing whatever he wants, or does he want to win? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want it for the perks, or do you want it because you have other things in mind? Is it a tool? Is it a vessel for you to accomplish your goal, or is it in itself the goal? Like, is just being part of the team the goal?
Right.
But there's also that mentality, like we discussed before, of like, I did this in this shitty car. Like, that kind of like accomplishment mentality, I feel like, is there as well, because like no one else is able to do this season in Ferrari, and like what I did or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And
if
not necessarily not talking about this season, but future season possibly.
Yeah, if he can bring
look where I took the team.
Yeah, if he can bring Ferrari back to glory, it's a huge deal. I mean, just like Lewis bringing Mercedes back to glory, like it's.
Yeah, I mean, if he can gaslight himself that good, I guess that's important, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like that's just it, though. Like same kind of idea that's happening. The successful version of that, or the other like multiverse or parallel universe version of that, is Lando Norris. He's
lost Jeff.
Oh
no, I thought it was me.
Oh yeah, you're both frozen. I'm
okay.
Hold on.
I haven't seen one of those in a while.
That's awesome.
That T-Mobile hotspot.
Yeah, buddy.
But anyways, back to this.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
We were talking about the team. I said that there has to be something to like winning with the team, bringing Ferrari back to former glory, blah blah.
Oh yeah. Same with like what Lewis did with Mercedes. Yeah. Yes, 100%. Yeah, and I was gonna say the other or the parallel universe of that is Lando Norris with McLaren. Like he's sticking that out, and it seems to be coming back around to where it's like, I don't know if the rumors are true or not, but Red Bull have offered him another, contract, and he's supposedly said no to it. So, like, he's definitely sticking with McLaren, which I definitely respect. I still want to see him in Red Bull at some point. I think that'd be really fun, but I definitely respect him wanting to, have that success with the team, especially with the effort he's stuck. I mean, he's stuck it out past Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo now. Like, I mean, that's pretty impressive so far. I mean, just to name a couple of his team members, that he's stayed and continued to be the number one driver, and now they're at a point where they're consistently number two, to Red Bull in the most recent races.
Which is damned impressive if you remember what happened in Bahrain when they had when their cars died.
Yeah.
Much.
The beginning of this year was abysmal for McLaren. I mean, it seemed like you were going to actually get some change in leadership, but luckily you have enough people.
McLaren and Aston switch spots.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely the quick improvements from zero. All the easy Chat GPT questions that Aston Martin was able to get answered early on. They weren't paying as many dividends, later in the season.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
But Stroll is kind of impressive today.
Yeah,
he was up there in the grid.
I know. Go ahead.
You don't get the P5 by pure luck.
It's true.
He earned that, which is weird.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was super weird.
How many people needed to get knocked out of the race first? Sorry. I'm sorry.
He qualled up there, dude.
Come on. That was special circumstance. I'm going to be the wet blanket here. Like, if that was a regular qualifying...
He made it to Q3.
All right, fair. All right, fine. I still think it was a fluke. I still expect him to be like P15 in Vegas. Like,
agree, but I'm still saying it still was surprising.
Yes, it was surprising. I agree, but I just think he just got lucky. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, my friend.
Without question.
But yeah, the opposite. But yeah, it's crazy when you go online and then people are just like, Stroll got fifth, and you're like, wait, no, he didn't. And you look at the results, you're like, oh yeah, he did get fifth. Fuck, Jesus Christ.
He stuck there on the grid for a while.
Yeah, no, he definitely. I mean, his late racecraft was not abysmal, so
he did it this time, guys.
He did it. I'm so proud of him. After all of the scrutiny and criticism of him being a nepo baby that doesn't actually care about racing, yeah, this is what we land on. Got it.
Maybe he won't go to tennis.
He's never gonna go to tennis. We gotta kick him to IndyCar or something. I don't know. Where do we send Stroll, Michael?
WEC, just have him rally.
Go-karts.
I like WEC because that means he's gonna roll over a bunch. We're gonna
send him to Mario Kart. He's gonna do esports.
Oh, I love that more than anything. Oh shoot, what else? Logan Sargent, P11. Thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, if there were more cars in the grid, probably wouldn't be like that. But
yeah, like you said, how many cars did it drop out for him to get that?
Like, that seems like he took Albon's spot there. But,
I feel like Stroll is better than Sargent, in my opinion. Like, way better than Sargent. So.
Well, you'd hope so, considering he's 7 years in his career or some shit like that. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, with that analogy, you're getting into the tallest short person, scenario when you start comparing those two.
Yeah, he finished above everyone that DNF'd in the two broken cars.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of beating.
Which just means he did his job.
Yeah. Well, you're beating me to my question with your answer, but like, is that enough? Like, do we still think Sargent has no seat next year, or do we think he's gonna have one?
I think
they should give him one more year.
I think because it's Williams, and because he is the only American on the grid, so he's kind of a novelty. I think another year.
Yeah, the novelty is on the record.
They have to give him another year, like.
Yeah, I mean, also he's a fucking rookie.
Yeah,
like give him at least one more year.
I mean, did they give?
It's we know that Red Bull did Nick dirty. Well, dirty-ish. I mean, he's older, but still, like, it was his first year there in a dog shit car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they did him so dirty.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's true. And Schumacher got 2 years, right, at Haas?
Yeah, and he racked up like a $4 million fucking debt. Repair bill.
Yeah.
At least Sargent's keeping the car out the wall for the most part.
Yeah, he set Haas back like years in development with the amount of accidents Schumacher had.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Well, go ahead.
Speaking of Williams,
yeah.
How about that front tire not touching the ground on the turns in the practice session?
How's it even happen?
I don't know.
Again,
dude.
I'm so biased at this point of him kind of being a goober that I initially was just like, oh yeah, what's wrong with the car now, Logan? Please tell us more. And then like they show the slow-mo of like the car with the front wheel off the. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, that is weird.
Have you ever seen like the dirt track racers, the oval tracks?
Mm-hmm.
Those cars, when they go around, they have the one wheel off like the entire time. Yeah. They're just like, ah, like that would look like he was driving.
Yeah, sprint cars.
Just like there's so much torque.
Yeah. That was hilarious. Again, it was just like one of those things where you're just like, that doesn't sound like a real thing, and then they show camera evidence. You're like, okay, yeah, apparently you can do that to your car.
Turned it into like a freaking trike.
Yeah.
An F1 trike.
Exactly. Oh, that sounds kind of fun.
It's gonna fucking cruise in USA in my car on the grid.
Yeah. Gotta put a couple American flags on the back and some hard cases. He would have been ready to go.
And then some car nuts.
Yeah.
Truck nuts for sure. What if you were to have like a Formula One motorcycle? What would that look like?
MotoGP.
It would be.
Would it?
Pretty. What's the Triumph? There's a Triumph that has like a V8 or something on it, or a V6.
So I mean, like, if you were to make it to where, because obviously a motorcycle goes, 200 miles an hour or whatever, but like, if you started to make it stupid equivalent, I mean, Michael's basically right with MotoGP, but if we were to really put a rocket on the back of a motorcycle,
yeah.
Sorry, a MotoGP, but with a halo.
Let's put a V10 in it.
Yeah, I kind of like that a lot. Oh, fudge. Okay, so
and they put a screen. And they put a screen on the handlebars.
Oh, Pimp My Ride style.
Yeah. Dude, imagine all the buttons on the handlebar to match the F1 car.
Yeah. They're going around a corner and they have to take their hand off the handlebars to like touch them.
Dude, you wouldn't even be able to freaking ride.
No, just like mode 14, just like they slide off the course.
Well, Triumph's website isn't working right now. I can't look it up.
That's all right. Yuki. I was happy for Yuki. I felt like there was a little bit of a tidal wave of support for, a little bit of backslide, but also there was like such a tidal wave of support for Danny that like I felt like he kind of was not getting the recognition he should have for sticking it out with the AlphaTauri and legitimately improving along with it. It proved that he was contributing to his good performances, and as the car has improved, so has his places. It wasn't just like Danny came in, he's up here and Tsunoda's not. I mean, Danny showed what the AlphaTauri could do, and then Tsunoda's like, yeah, I can do that too. I just didn't have the car up until now, so I think that's cool.
He's a damn good driver. Like he's a good B-level driver, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe B- most days, but that's still fine. That's still perfectly fine.
I mean, yeah. I mean, overall, I feel like the talent in the F1 like grid is better. They were even mentioning it during the race. I mean, the amount of wheel-to-wheel racing we're having without actual incident is pretty impressive. And honestly, I've kind of thought back to, you know, the 2011 days and things like that, where you had like the really garbage teams that were multiple laps down, and you'd have drivers that were only in there because they literally were footing the bill. You had several Lance Strolls. How about that? You know, you had several Strolls that were, or Mazepin, or what was the other? Latifi, Nicholas Latifi. So it's like you had a lot.
King, sir, please, show some respect.
What? King Latifi.
King Latifi, please, show some respect.
King Latifi. You know, and then now the worst you have is, you know, Osama bin Russell, you know, on the last lap.
No,
you know?
no, I mean, that's fucking crazy now.
Osama bin Russell.
Lord. Don't let the propaganda work on you.
I seriously thought that's what Checo was gonna do today.
Oh, I know.
I thought he was gonna put it all out there and run into the wall.
I know. So did I. Well, especially like the last one, like when Alonso came back, I'm like, all right, well, this is where Checo takes off his back wheel.
Yeah, the issue is that we don't have enough spots to showcase all the talent in the league. It's like we have dudes who are damn good young drivers who can't get a seat.
Yeah, I think
we have the F3 champion, F2 champion, Dragovich, who can't get a seat.
Yeah, no, I know.
What the fuck? Like, what are you supposed to do? You go through all the levels, you win the levels, get to F1, and they go,
sorry.
Like, what the fuck supposed to do? Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I know.
And I think the drivers we have now are gonna continue racing until they're older too, which is gonna make it even harder.
Yeah, it's like Alonso and Lewis are changing the aging curve. It's kind of a similar way to like LeBron and Brady did.
And honestly. I know Verstappen is already looking at Alonso like, yeah, what he's doing at his age is amazing. So I already know Verstappen's doing that in his head.
He's not doing F1 that long.
Yeah,
he has too many other interests. He will go race 6-hour races in Bahrain or some shit like that before he does F1 at like 42 years old.
He loves it too much.
Dude. He wants to check all the boxes.
He loves racing. Not necessarily F1. He likes racing.
Right, but look at it this way. Max is not going to leave F1 until he's ticked the boxes, and one of those boxes is going to be overall wins. He needs to have the most overall wins before he leaves. I think that's ultimately like who he is as a competitor. I'd be surprised if it was anything less. Like, just the fact that he's already at 52 wins, like, it would not be out of the realm of possibilities. And that's partly why he's already set the narrative of like F1's not his lifelong, you know, thing. He's saying that, but that's because he's thinking he can just check the box and like he's still gonna have time to move on to other things.
Possibly. It depends on what happens in 2026. So.
Oh, agreed. What were you gonna say, Steve? Sorry.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Like, he has too much. He at his age, he can beat Hamilton's record for most wins because he's already accomplished more wins at his age than Hamilton did.
Yeah, no, he's something else.
And with the way he is, like, he has to get fastest lap. He's gonna make sure he has enough wins. It's gonna take somebody else a long time to beat his most wins, his record.
They're gonna have to be like Lewis, where they come out the goddamn womb in a winning car,
yeah,
and just stay there for like a decade straight.
Yeah, Verstappen's gonna leave the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Verstappen's gonna retire the best F1 driver of all time. I think we all see it.
Mm-hmm.
So unless he just gets bored like fucking Jordan did and just leaves. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, and then that, I mean, but it's great because it gives you that blueprint. I mean, that's really you literally have the Michael Jordan, the LeBron, the Kobe Bryant type blueprint that you're like, hey kid, if you want to be the best of the best, like if you're not even coming close to this, like what are you even thinking? You know, like if you truly want to be the best, this guy's the best. So like the things that he's doing and the kind of care that he has, like that's what you're gonna have to do to even like have a chance, you know, especially
he might Gretzky this shit.
Right?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he strikes me as that kind of personality. He doesn't want to move on until he has the 3 stars. I can't go to the next level till you have the 3 stars, you know?
And he can do it. That's fucked apart. He's the one who can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's obsessive.
Mm-hmm.
Greatness is crazy. God damn.
Yeah, I mean, comedians are all neurotic, like crazy people. I mean, there's always a quirk when it comes to like some sort of specialty when you're really good at something. So like I don't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we understand. Like anyone who is great is not okay.
Yeah, right.
in some regard.
It's like I envy you, but not because you must be tortured, sir.
Yes, exactly. And we know Max is legitimately.
Yeah,
so you know.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot he's coming back from childhood.
Yeah. Yes, without question.
But anyways, overall, I thought it was a great, entertaining race. I mean, the middle was a little soggy, right? But I thought the beginning and the end were choice, especially with that battle with Fernando and with Perez. So that was
watching car disintegrate was a bummer though.
Yeah, that was not ideal.
Both Alfa Romeos, really? So like of the Ferrari customers, well, one Haas crashed.
And almost Sainz was almost out too, so it was almost all Ferrari brand.
Charles' car died, and then Alfa Romeo's died.
Yeah.
So three either Ferrari cars died in that race, which is embarrassing.
75%.
Yeah, they gotta stop.
Well, yeah.
Ferrari's gotta stop just marketing to rich people and start working on their engines a little bit more. But
their pit strategy and their pit stops and everything else and their management and yellow, I guess. But yeah.
Hey, but at least they have a driver that's never gonna leave. So
I mean, hey, isn't the most
keep telling themselves that, I guess.
The most important thing, Steve, is he can set his ego aside and get the job done.
If they get Charles a winning car again, he's proven that he's there. He's maybe not as good as Max, but then again, who is? He's like maybe 90% of Max, which is more than enough to beat him, as he's shown.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Definitely.
He just doesn't have the shit behind him at all.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's the frustrating part because it's hard to see a talent like that. And like you said, it expands beyond that because you don't even have them enough talent to fill up the pool. I mean, you have too much talent to fill up, or to be able to utilize the pool properly, So
yeah, and then they're fighting tooth and nail to keep another team from joining the grid because they're scared of sharing the money.
It's also going to happen when you have 20 drivers out of the entire population.
Yeah, no, 100%. But Michael's 100% accurate as well. Like then you got the constructors contradicting everything by being like, we don't want another team because we don't want to share the money. It's like, well, come on, man, share the money because your popularity has grown exponentially. Like you could afford to add 2 to 4 teams to the grid and you wouldn't notice anything, especially with the cost cap. Like now the dirty money can't flow like it used to. So like, why do you even care? Like that's my whole point.
You can call it what it was. Ferrari.
It's that whole corporate thing. The whole corporate thing. We got to keep lining our pockets and give ourselves raises, though.
Yeah, to be fair, it's mainly Haas. It's mainly Haas feeling about it.
Yeah, that's, of course.
Because they are dog shit. So
Well, they're a constructor that shouldn't be on the grid. They don't have enough money, or
they're just happy to be there.
Sponsorship, yeah. I don't know. I think
they're not taking sponsorships by like fucking like money laundering companies, shit like that again.
You want to pay me
was that Rich Energy? Was that fucking them?
Oh, is that?
You want to pay me millions of dollars to just drive a piece of shit car around a track 70 times?
It was kind of fun though.
All right. Fuck it. I don't have any expectations. I don't have any expectations.
Personally, I would do the same thing. I would have no problem with that. Like it's an F1 car. Yes, I will drive it. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Don't crash the car. Drive it, and we'll give you $1 million. All right, down.
Seems like I got.
And then when we want to like actually compete, that'll be it. But you know what? We paid you good money, and you had experience. You fly around the world in private jet. You don't
even have to win.
Yeah,
you just gotta drive.
There are worse experience. There are worse like lives to live, without question.
Oh no, 100%. I mean, it definitely could be worse, but you'd like to see it be better for some,
Yeah, and it should be.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
Well, and it's crazy that you had reliability failures like you did, and honestly, so this is my wild hot take. Okay, I think that engine manufacturers, if they have a team on the grid, I don't think they should sell their engines. Like I think that only teams that aren't on, so like Mercedes, since there's Mercedes, like other cars shouldn't have Mercedes engines. Like I think you should be sourcing engines from people who aren't necessarily in F1, but like they could supply their engines to you or whatever, blah blah blah. But like I just think
like
it's
Toyota or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like Toyota doesn't want to be in F1, but like you could do their engines, and I know that like there'll be a concern of like competitiveness, and like you'll just end up with like the extremes or whatever, but it just is a little bit difficult for me when it's like when you start to like look at it and it just is almost like over half of the grid is Mercedes or Ferrari, you know, and you're like, okay, when you see an issue, and it's more when there's issues, like that's when I have a problem with it, is like when you see this where it's like Alfa Romeo and almost all of Ferrari, you know, are out of the race, you know, and it's obviously an engine problem. I'd like it to not be that. Like it should only be Ferrari that's affected by that, in my opinion, but I'll open it up to you guys.
I get that, but I like the idea of like, no, it's like use any resource you want, even your competitors, but you got to make it work yourself. You got to put it together yourself regardless. So like, you remember back in the day, like Williams had a Mercedes engine. Look how much good that did them. Nothing. They were still a dog shit team. It doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things. You have to make it work. So I think the way it's currently instructed is fine, because no team is getting really one advantage because they're picking a Ferrari engine over a Mercedes engine, really.
Okay. So yeah. Go ahead.
I see the pros and cons to both. The biggest con though I see is that like Mercedes and Ferrari, we'll just talk about them, they have the tooling to build this engine, whereas Toyota doesn't necessarily have the tooling. So it's the manufacturers of the engines have to do that as well. So I mean, you're looking at, out of all the car manufacturers in the world, you have probably like only the small handful of them that are going to produce those engines, like Ferrari and Mercedes.
Yep. Well, I just mean like you have higher end like Lamborghini that you could like. I'm glad that Aston Martin got back, but that's the thing. I think Aston Martin should have to use Aston Martin engines. Like that's the whole, like, again, we start to get into like what's competing here. It's the engineering, right? And the engineering of like your brand, in my opinion. I get what you're saying, Michael, and I do agree with that to an extent, which I know is a little bit oxymoronic, but I understand what you're saying by like use anything of any means. But I think that there's more to it than like them making it work themselves. Like I think they still benefit from the engineering of Mercedes just by buying a Mercedes engine, if you know what I mean by that. And also I think Alfa Romeo is at a disadvantage because of some systemic issues with a Ferrari engine, if that makes sense as well. So like that's where that's where I start to think that like that's where we're at a disadvantage as spectators when we don't make the constructors use their own engines or whatnot, which again, I know it could get even worse if they're total dog shit and then you have no competition. But like, I think there's a happy medium you could find.
I agree with that.
I think your idea of it goes back to like the beginning days of racing, where like it was to prove the performance of like their brand.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, their brand in F1 doesn't translate to the street what they're selling.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's where it takes it out of play.
Yeah,
you're not selling your brand anymore. It's just it's different.
Yeah.
Now it's more about the aerodynamics like that, because when the power plants and everything are kind of almost the same. I'm sure there's differences, but they're pretty similar.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%, and I think you're right in that regard.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that like the excitement was at the beginning, at the end, in the middle was car is slowly dying. So
I thought it was funny that Russell like wanted to race at the beginning and then he DNF'd.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, sad.
I wasn't watching the Mercedes.
That's what I mean.
Lap
it's not funny like haha funny, just like funny like weird. It's just like
100%.
Yeah, because I mean Russell always thinks he's faster than Lewis even when he's not. So I wasn't really paying much attention to whether he actually was faster than Lewis.
Yeah.
In this instance, so I didn't follow that closely this time around.
Again, especially with how bad they were chewing through tires, I'm like, okay, yeah, like he's going slower, but like if he needed to, I bet he could go faster than you. You know, it's kind of one of those things.
If you want to sacrifice his strategy, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, Russell proved in the sprint that he is prone to blowing the strategy by overcommitting to the aggression at the beginning. So it doesn't surprise me that he was trying to do that again in the race. Like, it was funny in the sprint, Mercedes reminded me of that like guy that like doing a 5K and he's like super excited for it. And so like when they start the race, he like takes off sprinting. Like Michael Scott in like the race for a cure fun run. Like he just takes off running and he's just like, I'm gonna win this thing. And then like 50 feet down the road, like he's gassed and like throwing up on the sides of the street. Like,
doing great, Michael. Look at you go. That's my boss. Yeah, I'm fast. I'm very fast. I'm like Forrest Gump, except I am not an idiot. Oh, Alfredo sauce.
Not going to finish. I can't beat rabies.
Like that was just kind of like they looked so good right at the gate, and then they just like slowly like were cramping and like tore their ACL, and it just was not good.
Yeah, it feels like George needs a little more patience in regards to his driving style.
Yeah, because I think he got a little taste of success last year when Lewis was like, this is a throwaway year, so I don't give a fuck. And then Russell's like, this is just the way it's gonna be, guys. I'm driver number one. And then like Lewis is like, oh, I got a halfway decent car. Bye.
Yeah. And then George is also he's pushing too hard. Yeah. I mean, he'll learn.
Like
he'll learn.
George is like literally hanging onto the back of him, and I just feel like this is Lewis in the car.
Yeah, if
like Russell's like this, like two hands, like just like crazy, just like I gotta keep up with him. And then it's like Lewis is like,
yeah, because he's been there before. Yeah, it's like Lewis has seen it all. That's mainly why.
Yeah.
I'm consuming my tires, mate.
Yeah, like I still believe that George, if he's not a future world champion, he's definitely like a future like top 3 finisher in the championship by himself. He's that good.
Yeah,
he's a damn good driver.
Yeah, like, and he'll tell you all the time.
Like a grade driver. They give him the car, he'll get you wins. I fully believe that.
Yeah. No.
Like if Mercedes had a winning car, Red Bull would not be talking shit. They would be fucking hating Toto's guts, basically. So, but that's not the way it is right now.
Like that's the way it was. Like the last 2 years of Mercedes' reign was just utter vitriol hatred by Christian Horner for the situation, not for like Toto as a person, but like for the situation, the fact that he just couldn't catch them. Like he'd get so close, and then it just would get like just slip out of his hand. So like you know that it's just, if they hadn't had the success they had in 2022, like we would be having a very different conversation of what Red Bull looks like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Even 2021, it's like, yeah, they won, but they were on like blood pressure medication the whole time.
But that's what
like it wasn't enjoyable.
That's what
it was
I
like
mean.
They were having nervous breakdowns probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 2021 was like, yeah, you won. 2021 was like, all right, fucking prove it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you did it. And like, it took you 9-10 years to fully get your development to where Mercedes was, to where it was a hit for hit slugfest the entire season long. Okay, now we're changing regulations. Like, are you just going to fall back to what you did this last round? You know what I mean? So
and they went, right. Hey, we Adrian Newey, so we're fine. So yeah,
we've got a little bit longer runway on our legendary figure than you guys did.
Man, when he retires, they're in fucking trouble.
I know.
Maybe that's not true. That's not true. I mean, yes, but also maybe they'll be okay.
You got to find out who he is, their mentor. Like that's what you need to find out. Who's the descendant, you know what I mean? Not the actual kid, but you know, like the
but who's to say his tree is worth anything?
True. But the only way to know is to like find out.
Fair.
Like that's my kind of thought process. If we know that, like, hopefully
it's another stroll.
Yeah, another stroll. That would be we don't need another one of those. We got enough of that. All right, boys. Well, it was a fun one. I enjoyed it. Like Michael said, beginning crazy and crazy middle meh.
Yeah, last 5 laps.
It'll be remembered as a good race because of that one battle.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's gonna be a classic. It's gonna be a highlight reel material for next year's race.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Max and Norris were on the Sunday drive, so that was the only real action at the front anyway. So
Yeah. I really just want them to start figuring out how to cover battles, because that if they could do that better, we would have a lot more interesting races.
Are you saying if they were better at broadcasting an F1 race, it'd be more fun to watch?
Yes.
No, fair enough.
The weird thing is when I've watched some of the older races, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, but when I've watched some of the older races, I feel like they did a better job covering the battles, but since you didn't have the graphics telling you what was going on, it was harder to follow, to where it's like now we're in a place where we have all these graphics that the producers are able to kind of like lean on, to where they don't have to focus so much of just finding action on track. So you almost need to have them go back to the old days of like, we don't care about the visual aids. Like, you just focus on finding good battles, and then we'll do the visual aids. Like, you almost have to have two separate, like completely separate departments. So like you have someone who's just literally finding the action, and then the other people just overlay. And I know they do that to an extent, but I just know that you could tweak probably their responsibilities or something. But anyways,
what do we see for Vegas?
What do we see for Vegas?
I feel like someone's car's gonna die on that straight.
Max is gonna win.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think we're gonna see Williams perform really well though, because Logan Sargent made a really good point. Williams performs really well in the cold, and it's supposed to be really cold because they're racing at 10 p.m. In November, so it should be pretty cold. So we might see Alex Albon in top 5.
Both Williams.
And also that's a very low drag track is going to be, if you like, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So
yeah, so it should be interesting. I hope to see Mercedes up there. I'm thinking McLaren again though. I think we might see Oscar Piastri up there as well. I could see them be on the podium together if they, but it's a mystery for everyone, so that's the hard part. It's like we have no
everything seems
no
like
data.
Besides Red Bull, everything's up in the air. I mean, not Red Bull. Besides Max, everything's up in the air.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It should be fun. I'm excited to see what the kind of circus that it is. Again, Michael said this a long time ago. It's not for us. So,
no.
It'll be interesting to see who does show up.
Somebody watch. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
If they went to like the dog shit Miami fucking parking lot track, usually it'll be in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
maybe
think on today's broadcast, one of them was like, so and so, this gentleman just left by the name of Machine Gun Kelly. I was like, shut up, dude. No one gives a fuck.
Some give a fuck. Just no one too much worth of shit.
Gross.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the same logic in like the NFL with the Taylor Swift watch. Like, no, stop it. If it doesn't have to do with the sport, truly, just leave it alone.
But it works though. But it works.
He's there to just cry and drink mimosas.
Yeah.
But if it gets eyes on, it gets eyes on. It's like, again, how many people give a fuck about football because Taylor Swift is dating the tight end of the fucking Kansas City Chiefs?
But do they really care? That's my question. Do you actually gain a number other than a fleeting moment? Like that's
all they care about. That's all they care about.
I think the Taylor Swift thing is to get women interested in watching football.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's my conspiracy theory. It's all just so women will start watching football.
How does she make money off that?
Taylor Swift? She doesn't, but the NFL does.
Oh yeah, that's why they keep pushing it.
Bruh.
Yeah.
She had an HBO special that launched like literally the same time her and Travis Kelce started dating. You don't tell me there's a correlation? Come on.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe the NFL
seem
is
like the
paying her.
kind of conniving fuck to do that shit.
Yeah. So, anyways, but
a little off subject.
Hey,
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go pull my duck out here.
Yeah.
In like a minute.
Yeah. On that note, it was a good one. Everyone, thanks as always. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in Vegas. Peace.
Later, guys.